Let's talk about live dispatching with a new authority. How can you actually do things? How can you structure your the whole operation to make at least $1,000 per week? Okay, with a new authority. So one thing I want you to really understand is that you need to understand what your new authority allows you to do and what it doesn't allow you. So if you have a new authority, you have benefits you can take advantage of, and also you got to really, like I said, structure your business. So what does having a new authority really mean? So your trucking authority is actually your legal permission to operate as a for hire carrier. So you get the new authority from the authorities. So from the FMCSA, okay, and from DOT. So the Department of Transportation. You can actually have it at the federal level, or you can have it at the state level. So, of course, authority actually is given to you at a federal level, is granted to you at the federal level, but there could be in your states, there could be other hoops through which you have to jump. Okay, so make sure that you actually know exactly what conditions are in your area, but before actually operating as a for hire carrier. So a trucking authority is actually your ticket to running your own business and hauling loads for brokers, shippers, or directly for customers. Okay. So this is a few things. There are a few things you need to confirm right away. Your MC number is actually active and registered with the FMCSA. So your US DOT number is in good standing. Remember that your MC number and your US DOT number are two different things, okay? And both have to be in good standing. Your insurance is set up. So in terms of liability, cargo, and any additional coverage required, depending on the niche you're in, depending on the the loads you're hauling or you're about to haul. And also your BOC3 filing is complete, okay? And this is actually the process agent filing. So process agent is really important because you want to be you want to be compliant at all levels. So without those things in place, you cannot legally dispatch loads. So check all those four elements first, okay? Your MC number, your US DOT number, your insurance, but also your BOC3 filing. So the first thing is you need to understand your new authority. When it comes to live dispatching with a new authority, you need to understand that your dispatch operations have to be set up properly. Whether you are solo or you have a fleet of trucks, a fleet of vehicles, if you don't have the right operations, you're just wasting your time, okay? So you want to set up your dispatch operations from the get-go properly. You can do things manually, or you can actually outsource the whole task to a third party. In other words, you can hire dispatchers. So when it comes to a dispatching, setting up a dispatching for your new authority, you have to understand that dispatching means something specific. Dispatching means finding and assigning loads to your trucks and making sure the paperwork, communication, and payment all flow directly to your bank account, and they gotta flow smoothly. Okay. So when it comes to setting up your dispatch operations, you want to think about things like load boards, communication tools, load tracking, but also accounting software to make sure you get paid. So when I say load boards, for instance, you want to sign up for load boards like that, truckstop.com, or others that actually fit your niche or your geography. Every geography is different. Some load boards are local, by the way. So basically, load boards actually are where most brokers and shippers post their available freight. And in terms of communication tools, get a dedicated phone line or business number and consider a tracking specific messaging app like WhatsApp or Zello to stay connected with drivers and brokers, okay? Especially if you have a fleet. If you have a fleet of vehicles to actually manage, you want to have the proper communication tools. Also, when it comes to load tracking, you want to use GPS or fleet tracking tools so you can see where your trucks are actually in real time. That way, you know you're not making any mistake. Especially if the loads are if you hauling pretty sensitive or costly loads. And also, when it comes to accounting software, you want to set up software like QuickBooks or trucking specific programs to track things like invoices, payments, and expenses. That way you know that you're getting paid, right? So with these tools in place, you are ready to start searching for loads. So when it comes to a live dispatching with a no authority, you need to understand that you got to really have a system in place for finding and negotiating loads. And those loads can actually be in your area, in your direct area, in your locality, or they can be at the state level, or even in the country, right? It depends on the loads you want to haul. It depends on whether you want to do OTR, whether you have the authority to actually drive cross state, and also what your needs are in terms of getting home. Like if you're comfortable being on the road for a lot of days, that's really good. That's really good. Now there is one area where basically you got to be really organized. You got to have the right tools. Okay, and this is where the rubber meets the road, finding and negotiating loads. So as a new authority, you might not have relationships yet, right? Because those relationships do take time. They take time, they take consistency, they take accountability, they take credibility. So reputation takes time to build, okay? So if you don't have relationships yet, the load boards will be your first option, your best friend. Okay, load boards, you have no need for relationships. You have no need for like for some connections. Just go and just try your luck, right? You want to really search for loads in your truck's home region to minimize deadhead miles. You do not want to have deadhead miles because those are costly. Deadhead miles are really costly to you, and you want to look for loads that fit your truck's weight and size limits. Okay, and also you want to always check the shipper or broker's reputation before accepting a load. I've actually covered this topic on another show. Like when it comes to brokers, sometimes you want to check the credit score too, because if you have to haul a load and not get paid afterwards because you had a broker with a dodgy credit score, that's pretty bad. So you want to check their credit score first, okay? So you do not want to get stuck with non-paying customers. So websites like That Power and the Better Business Bureau can really help you. But you can also ask the broker themselves if like what their routine is when it comes to making payments. So when it comes to live dispatching with a no authority, once you actually are searching for loads, you need to really understand that once you find a load, there's a whole strategy to put in place to make sure that you're not getting you're not getting scammed, not scammed, but I would say shortchanged. Okay, so you want to really don't accept the first rate that brokers or shippers are offering. Okay, you want to negotiate. You always want to negotiate because if they choose you in the first place, that's because they think you can actually help them out. So you have you have credibility there. Okay, now it's up to you to really bargain properly. So know your cost. When it comes to negotiating, you can't just go into a negotiation if you have no idea about your cost, have no idea about your strategy. Okay, so know your cost. So when I say cost, I'm talking about fuel. I'm talking about driver pay. I'm speaking about insurance. I'm speaking about things like certification. I'm thinking about the maintenance. All those things are important because the last thing you want is to actually accept a rate, a minimum rate that doesn't even cover your cost. That doesn't even allow you to break even, right? So you got to really know your cost so you have a minimum acceptable rate, and be polite but firm, right? It's all about explaining your value. It's all about actually negotiating properly, professionally. You want to explain your value, like on-time delivery and professionalism. Because the whole thing you want is to show the other party that, hey, listen, you are offering value, right? Because see, if they reached out to you in the first place, that's because they think you can really help them out. So show them that you are indeed the person that they actually need for their operations. So be polite but firm, and if the rate is low, try to negotiate better terms like quick pay or accessorial fees for things like detention or loading and unloading. Because again, those things are can be costly. depending on the type of operations you have. And also, one thing I want to say here is that you want to have options. Okay, don't just go for the first load. Like I said, you want to try 3 or 4 loads and negotiate simultaneously. When it comes to live dispatching with a new authority, you need to understand that paperwork and compliance are going to occupy an important role in your operations. Okay, depending on the type of loads you haul, depending on the shippers you're interacting with, depending on the kind of geography you cover. Like if you're doing OTR, the paperwork could be more than if you're just doing local deliveries. Okay, so once you actually land a load, paperwork and compliance become critical, especially if you are thinking about, I would say, surviving in this industry for a long time. Because if you do not actually take care of the paperwork properly and promptly, you could face fines from authority. You could face actually penalties. Okay, you could face actually a lot of other stuff. So let me give you a few key documents you will need. You will need a rate confirmation sheets, a bill of lading, your ball, a proof of delivery, your POD, and also the carrier packet. So when I say rate confirmation sheets, this is basically the contract between you and the broker. Okay, so never haul without one. You always want to have a rate confirmation sheets. That really structures your work. That really clarifies what you have to do and what you don't have to do. Because the last thing you want is to actually keep working, working on things that don't even pay you. Okay, so a rate confirmation sheets. You got to have a ball bill of lading. So this is the proof of delivery and what was shipped in the first place. And the right proof of delivery is the signed document from the receiver confirming delivery, especially for loads that are expensive or let's say sensitive. Anytime you have some sensitivity or some kind of expensive loads, you always want to have a proof of delivery. I mean, you want to have a proof of delivery in any situation, but most importantly in those two scenarios. And you also want to have carrier packet. So when working with new brokers, they may request your insurance, authority, W-9, and carrier profile. Okay, so make sure that you have those on hand. And if possible, keep digital and physical copies organized. You will need them for invoicing and audits. Okay. Also, always comply with FMCSA regulations about hours of service, vehicle inspections, and driver qualifications. And this keeps you legal and prevents actually costly fines. So when it comes to a live dispatching with a new authority, you have to understand that everything actually centers on relationships, right? You want to really get the right connection. So building relationships and growing your business are going to be quite essential. You can't just think about dispatch live with a new authority if you don't have no relationships, if you have no freight brokers, if you have no direct shippers, if you have no dispatchers to even work for you in the first place. Because live dispatching is more than just finding loads. It's about building relationships. What you want to have consistent business. You want to have repeat business. That's how you survive in this industry, okay? So brokers and shippers love working with reliable carriers, okay? So if you want to build your reputation, there is a process to actually initiate this year, especially if you are trying to really do OTR or you are hauling, let's say, a very sensitive loads, for instance. So always communicate proactively. This is really important. Communication is key, not just privately with your wife or husband, whatever. When you are doing, when you're in trucking or delivery in general, or even in business in general, communication has to be quite essential. So communicate proactively. If there is a delay or issue, let the broker know immediately, right? It's all about letting them know if there is a problem so they know what kind of actions or reactions to take, right? Or to expect. So deliver loads on time and in good condition. That's part of actually being professional. People are trusting you with their loads. The least you can do is to deliver the loads in good condition and on time, right? Promptness is really key here, especially if you are dealing with hazmats or perishables, among others, or even reefer. You want to really deliver things promptly. You want to follow up after deliveries with thank you notes or quick check-ins. That way, that's part of building of the relationship. And you want to ask satisfied brokers or shippers for referrals and repeat business. That way, you have a clear idea about how they work. Because if they're referring their friends or other contacts to you, maybe they are in the same boat too. They have the same needs for loads actually. So over time, those relationships can lead to direct contracts, better rates, and more stable work. And that's the kind of scenario you want to have in the first place. So when it comes to dispatching with with a new authority, you need to understand that at the end of the day, things take time. Okay, don't try to really reinvent the world. Don't try to really do things overnight. They take time. So be patient, but persistent. Those are the two things you need to understand: patient but persistence. Otherwise, you're gonna be very discouraged real fast. Okay, it takes time to build relationships. It takes time to find good loads, good paying loads. It takes time to actually set in place the process that will allow you to profit from your new authority. Okay, it takes time to build a solid book of business. That's the bottom line. So you want to track your income and expenses carefully to stay profitable. Because if you have no idea what's coming in and what's going out, your cash inflows and cash outflows, you might find your operations like break even or even worse, losing money. So you got to really always keep an eye on cash incoming and cash outgoing. You want to keep learning things about regulations, technology, and market trends. Those three things are always evolving. Regulations, especially regulations and technology, those are always evolving. Especially if you are in a niche that's really subject to fast trends, you want to really keep learning and also consider joining trucking groups and forums online to network and get advice, right? Because if you network with other truckers or other delivery professionals in general, you might actually catch real fast or real soon what the changes are, right? And so if you follow those steps, the steps that I just gave you in today's conversation, you'll be well on your way to running a successful live dispatch operation with your new authority, especially if you are thinking about making money consistently over time. And again, what I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if you're doing OTR or you just driving locally. It doesn't really matter. The distance doesn't matter because whether you are driving cross state or you're driving in state, as long as you have the right operation, as long as you have the right system in place in terms of technology, in terms of load boards, in terms of vehicle maintenance, in terms of regulation, in terms of compliance, once you have those things, you're good to go. Remember that distance doesn't matter. When it comes to scalability, the most important thing is to have a system. What you have to do, whether you're driving locally or OTR, doesn't matter. The system is the most important thing. So in conclusion to this conversation, I talked to you about live dispatching with a new authority. I explained to you how that you need to understand your new authority, set up your dispatch operations, finding and negotiating loads, handling paperwork and compliance, building relationships, and growing your business book. And so that's all you have to do. But you have to do this on a consistent basis. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.